Morning, everybody. Now I can do it correctly. Boker Tov. Okay. It's really great this last couple of days seeing all of you together. It's really amazing. You can imagine I have a lot that's on my mind, a lot that I want to share with you. I'll do my best to keep it focused and direct, that this is a really serious moment for me, for all of us, for the Jewish people, the Jewish world, our relationship with Israel, our relationship with communities across the global world, to connect. It is so awesome to have friends here from other JCCs. Marcel telling me just briefly, the CEO from the JCC of Budapest, we need to have all our colleagues from around the world here. So Marcel, and to the global community, thank you for being with us. We care about you. We might be a continental movement, but we are really about global Jewish peoplehood. And the other thing I want to say that I keep on hearing from everybody is that the vibe feels great. I just, for me, core to who I am, is that quote from the poet Maya Angelou that says, "You won't remember everything we said or did, but we'll remember how we made you feel." And that's something that really is really powerful about coming together. What we do in our local communities is how we make people feel every day. And I really am so grateful to hear continually through the hallways the vibe that you guys are feeling, because this is a team effort and a team sport. And it's incredible to look out at all of you and the work that you do every day. I started this journey 12 months ago, maybe 6 months ago. And I think my friend Mark Shapiro, where's Mark? Says I started it 30 years ago. I said, someone says he's been 6 months on the job. Mark likes to say he's been 30 years on the job. My passion for JCCs, Jewish life, Jewish community, Jewish values is clear. My mission is pure. Our mission is pure. And I talked when I started about a path of how we're going to get somewhere, but the path is only as good as this destination. And I think as CEOs, having a great vision without a plan is an hallucination. So we are not hallucinating about the work we need to do right now. We're really dead serious about what we need to do for our communities. And this is the third time in my executive career that I've had to roll out a plan with deep input from the field, donors, lay leadership, federation input, our board of directors, and many colleagues. I do suffer from FOMO. That means fear of missing out, because I always feel like, who else can I ask? What else can I learn? What else can I gain? But I feel that this plan that we have, called Chazon, which is the Hebrew word vision 2030, is a massive plan to reboot all of our work at JCC Association to support all of you. I still, every day, wake up humbled that I see myself as one of you around the table. Wake up every morning wondering if your preschools are filled. When it's bad weather, who's dealing with opening and closing. And I've also come to recognize in my continental role now that when there's painful things happening in other communities, like what's been going on in Minneapolis, I wonder what the JCC director might be thinking about and going through. So thank you, Stephanie, for your leadership. We had a task force at JCC Association. We had board members. 2 of your colleagues, Scott Ehrlich and Jonathan Lev, sat on that task force to get this plan done, and we moved quick. 6 months, there was a real urgency because the Jewish world said, we need you. And one thing I heard on my tour of talking to funders was, you don't have 6 months, you don't have a year. You got to get this thing organized and everybody working together so we can move this forward. And the Power 5 funders, that I like to call them, they wanted a roadmap. They needed to trust me, trust the vision, and trust the plan. No different than the local communities think about you. Do they trust you? Do you have a vision? Can you execute on a plan? Are the JCCs and JCC camps behind us? Do we have a plan to support you? You're standing with us since July, that 148 JCCs and JCC camps signed on, gave me my ultimate credibility to support and be your champion. When we are not united and not aligned, we can't prove to the funders that we are all together. And this has never been a more aligned moment for us. So I want to talk to you for a bit and make sure that you know that you can trust me, that I'm here for you, and I will be your champion and your advocate. I've traveled the country to Israel. I've seen adorable Shabbat programs in Rochester. I've seen the Barak Hermann initiative in San Francisco. I've seen how we celebrate Israel and deal with the pain of Israel, being events at the JCC of Staten Island or celebrating the great work of Z3. I've seen the incredible work that we're doing in the universal community, blown away by the work of Common Point, led by Danielle Ellman, seen the work of the other JCCs in the New York system that are bringing work to minority groups and ethnic groups to make their communities a better place. And I've seen really great innovative Jewish programming. If it's been a touchscreen wall in the lobby that's about 100 inches, I don't know where Daniel is, how big that screen is, a touch screen about how to connect with Israel in your lobby. What an innovative project. And our job is to share these projects. And just last week, I saw a beautiful exhibit of Jewish stories at the JCC in West Hartford. We asked you guys for 18 months when we rolled out this new stakeholder model that went into effect. The plan runs through December. I hope all of us will never question affiliation again. Our work is for the movement, by the movement. This conference is just an example of the way we will do our work at JCC Association. We have so many new products that we're going to put on the shelves for all of you to make your work easier, more effective, and more impactful. I like to think of us now as a JCCA superstore, where you will get what you need and be able to go shopping for your community. And we hope your great ideas will become our great initiatives. It doesn't have to be top-down. And examples include things like Z3, scale it to the movement. Just last week, the Great Canadian Gathering. Where's our Canadian colleagues? Awesome. Leading a new initiative for next fall. Thank you to Rob Berkowitz for championing that. A couple of weeks, we're doing the New York City Teen Summit. Where's our New York City colleagues? Right? They came to us and said, can you help us make our dreams a reality? And that's how we work as a movement. We're in partnership with you. It doesn't all have to come from us. You have great ideas. How can we amplify your message, help you raise money, help you achieve your dreams? So today I want to talk about the path is leading us. I've told you it's called Chazon, Vision 2030. We are no longer a collection of islands. We are a continent. We are a movement. And I want to show you some stats that after 30 years, I never knew. I had no idea that we had 183 early childhood centers. I didn't realize that we're 68% of the Jewish camping world. I didn't realize that Leading Edge told me that there's 110,000 full-time Jewish employees across North America, and we're 35,000. 1/3 of the Jewish full-time workforce. Just look at those stats. Does that speak about a movement? And after 30 years, I didn't even know some of these statistics. And I realized, wow, how are we going to support this engine? And there's so many more stats I learn every day. This is an incredible moment. After I'm done speaking, you're going to hear from a great colleague, Yoni Kaiser-Blueth, who's program director of the Marcus Foundation. And the Marcus Foundation was born out of the incredible impact and leadership of Bernie Marcus. And when I learned about this Home Depot that provided now the resources to the Marcus Foundation, that their corporate center is a store support center, and that the way they run their business at Home Depot corporate is to support every store. When one store is not doing well, they send the right store managers out to help them. Something's going really well, they take a great store manager and they bring it to another store. And in many ways, that's what JCC Association is. We are your JCC support center. At the end of the day, when you're not doing well, we need to help you. When you're doing great, we need to celebrate you, but we need to share that with each other. So our JCCA Support Center is going to focus and be anchored in 3 centers of excellence. You've heard about them over and over again: talent development, Jewish peoplehood, and innovation and impact. We are effectively, immediately moving from a mindset of survival at JCC Association to a mindset of thriving. This is our moment. The funders know it. Jewish world knows it. This is our moment to work together and to communicate and articulate what we do and why we do it. But to get there, we need to talk a little bit more about leadership. And one of the ways I like to frame things is I love to look at the weekly Torah portion. And it's not just because I'm a rabbi's kid. I think our ability to understand where we fit into the Torah, how we live Torah every day, how our JCCs live the mitzvot every day, that our JCCs are living Torah every day, and our ability to talk about things through the lens of the collective story of memory over 4,000 years. The funders need to see us as Jewish thought leaders. And when you walk into your communities, not talking just about the brick and mortar, but what is the impact? What is the connection to this collective Jewish story, thousands of years later, that we are still creating, impacting, and continuing? That's why we're here, and that's why we're in business, is to live Torah every single day. So this week's Torah portion is Yitro. How appropriate. How appropriate when I looked a week ago and saw, wow, it's Yitro. Moses is the ultimate CEO. There's a great book, by the way, Moses on Management. If you ever want to learn, I'm telling you, it's a great, great book. But Moses is the ultimate CEO. He's dedicated. He works from morning unto night. He judges every dispute. He answers every question. He does it all. And his father-in-law, Yitro, is really, really worried about him. Yitro, we might say, is the first management consultant in history. He watches Moses and says something jarring. Navol tibol, you will surely wear yourself out. For the thing is too heavy for you. You cannot do it alone. Yitro doesn't say work less to Moses. He says, if you keep leading like this vision will die with you. Yitro cared deeply, and Yitro was not a member of the Jewish faith. Yitro deeply cared, and he thought, even though he began as a non-Israelite, because of his relationship with his son-in-law, he was recognized as a righteous figure who embraces one God and becomes a key ally to the Jewish people. In my first 6 months, like many of you, where are our new execs in Kivunim? Right? Right? Just like all of you, we have all felt the weight. I know you feel it too. Looking at Yitro and our work, I've identified 4 movement ideas essential to achieving this new vision. This will drive our leadership and work at JCC Association, and hopefully they'll resonate as you think about your own leadership at your JCCs. Movement idea number 1. There's an urgency right now, the urgency of innovation, and Yitro saw Moses consumed by the present. The line of people were waiting, and Moses was getting overwhelmed, and we know that feeling. As CEOs, the urgency of the now. It's our biggest trap in leading JCCs. The leaking roof, the budget gap, early childhood staffing, the next personnel issue. We must find the urgency to curate the future while we manage the present. That's our job as CEOs and senior executives. The funders need to know that we're not just managing brick and mortar every day. We are change makers, we are bridge builders, and we are building community every day. That is hard in our brains to separate sometimes the present from the future. But if we only solve today's problems, we will wake up in 2030 with a 2026 JCC. We gotta constantly evolve. And this is why we are building the Center for Innovation and Impact, to look up from the daily grind and design the JCCs of tomorrow. We must be architects of the future and not just janitors of the present. We need to scale, innovate, and share. I mentioned programs like Z3, the Teen Summit, the Great Canadian Gathering. There are smaller programs, bigger programs, ideas, community places. I need to ensure that we're actively creatively sharing resources across the network. So more is going to come in the Center for Innovation and Impact, and I'm really grateful that Deanne Foreman came on as our executive director to do that work. But the Center for Innovation and Impact won't just be about programs and sharing. It's going to be about resources and learning. Like many of you, we have a little bit of time in between JCC meetings. Some of you might know that feeling when you go to the JCC Resource Center and you forget your password. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? I've met already with some researchers and developers that we need to have an app on our phone. Our JCC Resource Center needs to be cutting edge, using AI, using tools that can really be revolutionize the way we work with each other. Our professionals work very long days. They have committee meetings. The Resource Center needs to be fast, progressive, and modern, and we're going to build something really, really special for all of you. We need to continue to creatively share resources and innovate new concepts. Another important area, thank you to Kurt Atherton and others that are here, is that we're not fitness centers. We are wellness. We are indispensable to the lifespan of family. We need to innovate new medical fitness programs. We need to think about how our JCC is indispensable to people, that we are seen as a place, if you have, unfortunately, you have to deal with diseases, it's part of life, that our JCC is there to take you. What better mitzvah to make that happen when we talk about Bikur Cholim, and we talk about taking care of the sick, than our JCC. We need to live those things every day, and we're going to be designing a lot of new efforts, and I'm really excited that we are bringing Audrey Edwards on as our wellness consultant for the field, and Audrey will be starting next month. Movement idea number 2. We, as CEOs, must trust and delegate and identify the next generation of talent. One of the most important responsibilities for us as CEOs is to build a workplace culture where talent grows, develops, and has enduring impact. We must build a new pipeline into Jewish professional life, reinvesting in middle management, executive development, executive search. We must bring back the functions that brought many of us into this field and that we need today in a new and modern way. And we must do the same for leadership, lay leadership. We must identify, recruit, and train lay leaders. When this partnership works between professionals and boards, it is truly magical. This is the #1 concern I hear from funders. They are very worried about the pipeline of lay and professional development leading these organizations, not just us, the Jewish world. This isn't easy, and I've learned the hard way at times. We care so much that we want to do everything, but delegating and developing and doing is not about doing less, it's about empowering more. When we treat board meetings as reporting sessions, we lose. But when we treat our boards and committees as strategy sessions, we win. We inspire lay leaders. They just don't give us time. They can open our doors, they can bring funding, and they can make connections. Let's remember who Yitro was. He wasn't an Israelite. He was viewed as an outsider, maybe a lay leader. Moses could have ignored him, but instead he invited him into his inner circle of thinking. The quality of our lay engagement is the engine for our growth along with our professional talent. And that will be the heart of the Center for Talent Development at JCC Association. We are going to invest now in a pipeline of lay and professional leaders. We need to bench in our own JCCs that can lead our organizations, both lay and professionally. And I'm very, very excited to tell you that a major funder who had a historical belief in us has now asked us for a multi-million-dollar proposal to name the Center for Talent Development. And I am saying to you, by this time next year, we will be launching the first executive development training program. Since some of us in this room, where's Paul Frischman? Is Paul still here? He's gone. Where's Ivy? Hi. Where's Eric Kohler? We were in the last class 22 years ago. Laura Friedman, where's Laura? Laura. 20 years ago, we haven't run an executive development training program. We got out of middle management, we got out of search, Some of you know that there were about 9, 10 different search firms, and actually, people want us to take care of our own people and develop our people. And some things were not handled so well during these searches, I heard. And it's our time to take back our work. I'm very, very excited and very, very passionate about the work we're going to do with lay leaders. One of our new programs that we're going to bring is that every new board chair every year should be in their own Kivunim program. And the funder last week said there might not be a more important than putting them in their own Kivunim program, not just for them, but to make your lives easier. And they don't, so they need to understand, we need our lay leaders to understand their role as well. And so we're going to double down on lay leadership development. The next movement idea is Jewish joy and radical diversity. What is this all for? In the Torah, Yitro's advice prepares the people for the ultimate moment, receiving the Torah at Mount Sinai, a moment of shared purpose and identity, and that is what our work is. Really, our JCCs are Center for Jewish Peoplehoods. The whole JCC Association is a Center for Jewish Peoplehood. We need to embrace diversity and lean into it like never before. We need to make sure that every Jewish family and every person in our community is seen. 70% of Jews are intermarrying. That means 7 out of 10 families walking through our door have one parent who might have not been on a Jewish journey. We need to double down on Jewish grandparents. We all know that there's going to be interfaith marriages in our own families. We need to be preparing our generation to be transmitters of Jewish identity to the next generation of little people. We need to make sure that biracial families are seen at the JCC. We need to make sure that the LGBTQ community is seen at our JCC. And we need to be unapologetically diverse and radically inclusive. God asked us that B'Tselem Elohim, that everyone's born in God's image. We were not asked to be exclusive. We were asked to role model what it means to be a light unto the nations. And I'm going to say that back in December, I went to Israel. Where's Leah Garber? The best. And one of the most powerful moments of responsibility thinking about radical diversity and Jewish peoplehood was going with Leah to the Jewish Agency and to that building where the historic state of Israel. And I'll never forget sitting in that room with Doron Almog and Yehuda Seton, the heads of the Jewish Agency, with a map of the Jewish world behind them. They said, there's 7 million people in Israel. We worry about them. What are you doing about, you're in charge of worrying about the 7.5 million people in the diaspora in North America. I said, wait, that's a lot of weight for a guy who's 5'5". But I felt this weight of responsibility. Israel is saying, we need to worry about our people here. The JCC movement is our #1 partner to do that work. And that's why we're doubling down on things like Mithabrim and Shachim and Shinshanim, promoting the love of Israel. If there's gap year programs, they think that we could be the #1 engine for more people making Aliyah. But what a weight of responsibility. And right after that meeting at the Jewish Agency, Leah and I had a beautiful lunch with Avram Minfeld. Does everyone know, who knows who Avram Minfeld is? If you don't, Google his name on the way home and watch his video of the 4 legs of the table. 5 legs, excuse me. Sorry. He talks about the collective memory and responsibility we have to a story. And I said to him that JCCs and federations, they've always challenged us about serving the universal community. But why in Israel? You have Armenians, Christians, Arabs. Israel can have all this beautiful diversity in the old city, in the country, and it's governed Jewishly. Why can't a JCC do that locally? Maybe we're a microcosm of what Israel, the hope for Israel is, that's for our community. And he says, I never thought of that. What is the largest JCC, Barak, he says, in the world? I said, well, there's a lot of big JCCs, massive. He goes, but what's the biggest? I start mentioning different names. He goes, no, you're missing the point. You just said it. He goes, the largest JCC in the world is the state of Israel. And then he goes, and in your new stakeholder model, you should get them to affiliate at the ambassador level. So this is our moment. We need to double down on being welcoming and inclusive and spreading the joy of being Jewish in an unprecedented way. Our JCCs must be the moral compass of the community. But a compass is useless if it only points to one kind of person. We need to be the Big Ten. Our language, staff, lay leaders, and programs must represent the entire community. And we're going to double down on those efforts. This is the Center for Jewish Peoplehood. And just like I had a Nachshon moment to say, I think I had to move into this calling, I want to thank our colleague, Daniel Septimus, who is leaving one of the most beautiful, vibrant JCCs in our movement, Shalom Austin, because he had a calling. May we all find our own calling to do this work, and I thank you, Daniel, for joining us. But we're going to move from safe spaces to proud Jewish spaces. We're going to build communities where everyone belongs, everyone can feel the joy of Jewish life. And here's how we're going to do it. We're going to double down on Jewish family engagement in a whole new way. There are thousands of families in our community who need us, who might choose a Montessori school or a private school, another school. We can't just, not that we are, many of you are doing great work, but we got to think about our work serving families throughout our communities, not just the families in our preschools and camp. We shouldn't just be in relationship with them. We need to be in relationship with all Jewish families. There are so many cool things happening around our movement. Lily's team in Boston does amazing work. I know the team in Baltimore does great work. There are many JCs doing really creative Jewish family engagement programming, and we need to double down. And I say that because there are areas where we can partner, and there's areas where we can lead. We can lead in early childhood, Jewish camping, and Jewish family engagement. No organization is better poised to be indispensable to families of the present and the future. We're also going to create a new division in our Center for Jewish Peoplehood for JCC Camps of North America. You just see it on the board. 25 resident camps, 150 day camps, 68% of the camping world, and we don't have a camping department. We don't have camping consultation. We're going back to the work of supporting our camp directors so they feel like they're a movement. A number of people have said to me, Capital Camps, Tamarack, Pinemere, Shy, Wise, those are JCC camps? Because we don't talk as JCC Camps of North America. And I think that by us building a platform of resource, it will amplify and activate funding and support. So we have just launched a task force to define what that work will be. And thank you to some of you in the room that have been asked to be part of that task force. Thank you to Carrie Darsky for taking on that charge. We have two wonderful chairs from our board, Brad Stillman, former chair of Capital Camps, and Ed Atkins, former chair of Camp Shy, and a plethora of people. Even though not everyone can be in the room, if you have opinions on what we should be doing for day and resident camping and what you want that resource to be, just text Carrie. We want to hear from you. This is our moment. This is our opportunity to double down on JC camps, Jewish family engagement. We are also going to double down on JCC Maccabi. We cannot turn away teens from experiencing it. And the number one thing, along with the talent pipeline that I'm hearing from funders, they are very worried about what we do in this generation about the relationship with Israel. And our goal in 2027 is to get the Maccabi games back to Israel. And I hope that all of you, I know it's a lot of work, will double down on building a delegation, because it's not just about the teens, it's the experience those coaches have when they're leading those kids. Let's get people back to Israel. And one of our best platforms is under leadership of Sam Cohn. So thank you, Sam, for your leadership. I show you on the board 183 preschools. I don't know if any of you are some of you might be in the franchise business. Some of you told me you used to do franchise work at Burger King, others. Can you imagine having 183 Burger Kings and having 3 people in a corporate office to support all those schools? We need to double and triple the team of Veronica and Lisa and the Sheva Center to better support all of you. Our directors sometimes are in crisis. They need our help. So one of our prime objectives in the next 6 months is to double that team so we can make sure we're supporting early childhood and elevating the work. And that also includes what we're doing with URJ and the JFNA on Elevated. We need to lead in the space of early childhood, young families, teen engagement, and camping. And in other areas, we can be a partner. In talent, leading edge, just got funded with $16 million. They can't do their work without us. Many of these funders have got great projects, funding, Upstart, M Squared. They're incredible. I meet with them, and they have opportunities, but they need us to do their work. So we will be an unprecedented organizational platform of partnership, and that's something I'd also want you to think about in your own local community. Where do you lead, and where do you partner? Who can be in your house? Who can do work with you? So you can focus on your core businesses. It doesn't mean you don't care about adult Jewish education. Who are the willing partners that can show up in your house? And whatever deal you have to make. But we heard from Paul that the Mifgash initiative was a doubling down on partnerships in San Francisco. Let's all think about, please, Mifgash, come into our house. But we have to lead that way. This is our moment. And Yitro told Moses, if you do this thing, then you'll be able to endure. And all this people will go to their place, the land of Israel, in peace. This is our promise of Chazon Vision 2030. This is our impact. This is our work. We've got to focus on talent, strengthening our communities, leadership pipelines, innovation, peoplehood. And we need to see diversity for real, meaningfully. Let people be seen. It's very, very powerful, and it's happening. This is our promise with Chazon Vision 2030. We will elevate and amplify you. I am so honored to be your mouthpiece. If we balance the present and the future, if we develop our teams, lay and professional, if we engage our partners, and if we build a home for everyone, then we won't just survive, we will endure, and the Jewish people will thrive. Let's continue to do this work together. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.